Huawei has been an absolute juggernaut in the worldwide smartphone market, outselling a bunch of more established smartphone brands on a global scale. Now Huawei's looking to make a big splash in the US with the release of the Huawei Mate 10 Pro. In this episode, I give you a look at the top 5 features of the Mate 10 Pro and why this just might be the best Android smartphone you can buy on February 18th. What's going on, Tech Squad? Andrew Edwards here, editor-in-chief of GearLife.com. If this is your first time here, this channel is all about tech, gadgets, and gaming. So if you're into that kind of stuff, feel free to hit the subscribe button down below, along with the bell notification icon, so you don't miss any future videos. As I said, Huawei is taking a big step into the United States with the release of this right here. This is the new Huawei Mate 10 Pro United States version. And in this episode, I want to give you the top 5 features of Huawei's flagship smartphone. Huawei made the announcement at CES that the Mate 10 Pro was coming to the US. Big shout out, by the way, to Huawei for sending over the Mate 10 Pro and for sponsoring this video. Now, the Mate 10 Pro is a beautiful device, so let's start off right there by talking about the design. The Huawei Mate 10 Pro is comprised of glass on the front and the back. On the rear, you've got ergonomic curved glass, according to the company. And as you can see, it's got 2 cameras on the back. That's dual cameras from Leica. And that stripe that goes across the cameras right above the fingerprint sensor is part of Huawei's new signature design. I assume we're gonna see that on future smartphones going forward as well. Between the 2 pieces of glass, you've got a metal band holding everything together. And on the bottom, as you can see, it's got a speaker as well as a USB-C port for charging and syncing. I did mention that it has a fingerprint reader on the back, which is actually very fast. That's not surprising in this day and age, though. Pretty much every fingerprint sensor that we come across is super fast these days. And looking up front, as you can see, that screen to body ratio is killer. There's just a small bezel on the top and bottom. Otherwise, you've got that nice large display. The other thing to keep in mind about the design of this phone is that Huawei did make this phone IP67 water and dust resistant. That means you can drop it in a meter of water and leave it there for up to 30 minutes without suffering any damage. So again, beautiful looking device, but of course, the main thing about a device that you're gonna be looking at isn't the back, it's the front. That is feature number 2, Huawei's FullView display. Up front, you've got a 6-inch 18:9 aspect ratio display at a resolution of 2160 by 1080. Huawei calls this the FullView display. It's an OLED display, again, with minimal bezels. It's also an HDR capable display with support for HDR10 content from places like Netflix, Amazon, YouTube, and more. It supports 16.7 million colors and has a contrast ratio of 70,000 to 1. The display is also very responsive to touch. It's not 120 Hertz true motion display or anything like that, but it does get the job done and looks fantastic, especially when you're streaming HDR content. Up next, let's talk about one of the most important features out there, something most people don't think about until after they buy the device. It is battery life, and Huawei is killing it on the battery front. On the inside, Huawei's Mate 10 Pro packs in a 4,000 milliamp hour battery. That is one of the largest batteries you're gonna find in any smartphone today. A lot of them are a lot less. Huawei is bringing the heat with a 4,000 milliamp hour battery. In fact, I've been able to use that battery from morning until night and go to bed with power left over without having to charge up one time during the day. So super impressed with Huawei's battery life, but there's also Huawei's battery charging tech that also deserves to be called out as well. Huawei calls it Supercharge. It's a fast charging tech that gives you a full day's use from a 20-minute charge. So if you have an empty battery or if you have a low battery, you plug in for 20 minutes with Huawei's charger and you'll have a full day's battery life. Very impressive and a feature that is very much appreciated. Up next on my list of top features for the Huawei Mate 10 Pro is this impressive camera on the back. I mentioned that stripe design. The Leica cameras are flanked right in there and they do a really good job. Inside the Huawei Mate 10 Pro is the Kirin 970 octa-core processor with neural network processing unit. That is what powers the camera and gives it its AI, artificial intelligence capabilities. The Leica dual cameras are both f.16 apertures, which is the largest aperture you're gonna find on any dual camera smartphone. You've got one 20 megapixel monochrome camera and one 12 megapixel RGB camera with optical image stabilization built in. Together, they take some great photos, and there's real-time recognition for what you're taking photos of built in. Using that neural network processing, it'll sense what you're pointing the camera at and optimize all the settings for that particular scene. Some examples of things that the Mate 10 Pro can recognize are flowers, the sky, plants, nightscapes, food, sunrise and sunset, text, beaches, portraits, snow, and more. So if you point at any of those things, and again, there's more than that, it'll recognize exactly what you're trying to take a picture of and then optimize all the different settings of the camera so that when you snap the photo, it takes the perfect picture. The Mate 10 Pro does also have a portrait mode built in. That's where you take a photo of someone and have the background all blurred out. It does that using AI as well. And that's something we're seeing on a lot of flagship smartphones recently, at least with the iPhone 10, iPhone 8, the Google Pixel 2, and the Samsung Galaxy Note 8. Huawei is doing the same thing here, using that dual camera to produce DSLR-like quality. Now this next feature is interesting because it's not so much a feature as it is a category, but Huawei's done a really good job at optimizing for this category, and that is travel. If you're a business traveler, there are some features built in to the Mate 10 Pro that you really don't see elsewhere, but they deserve a mention. First is a built-in real-time translator. You can speak to the Mate 10 Pro in one of 50 supported languages and it'll translate into another of those 50 supported languages. You can go back and forth with someone using just this phone and have a full conversation. Not only does it support one-way voice, but like I said, it supports conversations, it supports images, it even supports text. So you can take the camera here, point it at something in another of the 50 languages that are supported, and it'll translate what's in that text that you're pointing the camera at into your native language. The translator is pre-installed on the device, so you're ready to go right out of the box for business travel or even for personal travel. That is a great feature to have built right into the phone. That was your look at my top 5 features of the Huawei Mate 10 Pro. The company did also have some other non-smartphone news to share at CES this year. They're launching the world's first hybrid smart home network solution, which aims to support the long list of Wi-Fi connected home products. This is called the Huawei Wi-Fi Q2 series, which will automatically connect to the fastest hotspot and frequency nearby to deliver a reliable signal throughout your house. If you're interested in the Huawei Mate 10 Pro, Huawei is selling this for $799 with 128 gigabytes of storage on board. It'll be available in 3 colors: titanium gray, midnight blue, and mocha brown. If you want the Mate 10 Pro but want to up your game, there will also be a Porsche design version with 256 gigabytes of storage and a different external design that will sell for $1,225. If you want to get your hands on the Mate 10 Pro, you can find it at Amazon, Best Buy, the Microsoft Store, Newegg, and B&H Photo. And if you want the Porsche design version, you can find that at Porsche Design retail outlets. The phone will ship on February 18th. There you have it, guys. That was your look at the top 5 features of Huawei's Mate 10 Pro. This is Huawei's flagship entry into the United States market. Any questions about the phone, drop them down below. I'll meet you there for further discussion in the comments area. As always, if you enjoyed this one, please do drop a like in this video, and don't forget, you can click or tap on my face when it appears here at the bottom of the screen in order to subscribe for free to the channel so you don't miss any future videos. Thanks so much for watching. As always, guys, I appreciate your support. I'm Andrew Edwards, and I will catch you in the next video.